Hi, and welcome to this video on finding the area of any triangle. In this video, we will cover 4 different formulas: area given base and height, area given all 3 side lengths, area of an isosceles triangle, and area of an equilateral triangle. We are going to start with the most common formula for area of a triangle. This is the formula that you will use almost every time and the one that is usually taught in schools. A equals 1/2 BH, where B stands for the length of the triangle's base and H stands for the triangle's height. This formula is useful for almost every triangle, especially if you are given the base and the height or can easily find them. Let's try a couple of examples. Find the area of the following triangle. In this example, our base is 6 inches and our height is 7 inches. If we plug these values into our formula, we get A equals 1/2 BH. So it's equal to 1/2 times 6 inches times 7 inches, which then simplifies to 21 square inches. Our area is 21 inches squared. Let's try another one. What is the area of this triangle? In this example, our base is 21 centimeters and our height is 4 centimeters. If we plug these numbers into our formula, we get area equals 1/2 BH. We always write our formula just so it helps us remember it. Equals 1/2 times 21 centimeters times 4 centimeters, which is equal to 42 centimeters squared. The area of our triangle is 42 square centimeters. The second formula we are going to cover is not as well known, but is still extremely useful. It is the formula for finding the area of a triangle when you are given the lengths of all 3 sides. Depending on the triangle, there may be times when you can use the side lengths to find the height of the triangle, but this is not always possible, which is when the following formula comes in handy. A is equal to the square root of S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C, where S is the semiperimeter of the triangle and A, B, and C are each of the side lengths. Let's talk about semiperimeter for a minute. Semiperimeter isn't something we come across often, so we need to break apart the word to figure out what exactly it means. We know that the perimeter is the distance around an object, so it is the lengths of all the sides added together. But what does semi mean? You may think of a semicircle to help you understand. A semicircle is half a circle, so in math, semi must mean half. Now that we know what each part of the word means separately, let's put it together. Semiperimeter must mean half of the perimeter. Let's try a couple of examples using this formula. What is the area of this triangle? The first thing we want to do is write out our formula. I always recommend doing this because it helps you remember where to plug something in, and writing the formula out repeatedly will help you remember it. A equals the square root of S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. We know our A, B, and C values, but we don't know the value of S. So before we can plug things into our formula, we need to figure out what S is. S stands for semiperimeter, so we want to find the perimeter of our triangle and then divide by 2. Now that we know that S is 14.5, we can plug all our known values into our equation. A is equal to the square root of 14.5 times 14.5 minus 7 times 14.5 minus 9 times 14.5 minus 13. This is equal to the square root of 14.5 times 7.5 times 5.5 times 1.5. which, when you simplify this out, is approximately equal to 29.95 square meters. Let's try another one. Find the area of the following triangle. The first thing we need to do is write out our equation. A is equal to the square root of s times s minus a times s minus b times s minus c. Now we need to find our semiperimeter. S is equal to 12 plus 24 plus 13 over 2. This is equal to 49 over 2 equals 24.5. Finally, we plug all our values into the equation. Area is equal to the square root of 24.5 times 24.5 minus 12 times 24.5 minus 24 times 24.5 minus 13. This is equal to 24.5 times 12.5 times 0.5 times 11.5, which, when you simplify it out, is approximately equal to 41.96 square feet. The next formula we're going to look at is a formula for finding the area of an isosceles triangle. The formula is A equals 1/2 B times the square root of A squared minus B squared over 4, where A is the length of one of the two congruent sides and B is the length of the unique side. Let's try out this formula on a couple of examples. What is the area of this triangle? First, we'll write out our formula. A equals 1/2 B times the square root of A squared minus B squared over 4. Then we want to plug in our known values and solve. A equals 1/2 times 3 times the square root of 7 squared minus 3 squared over 4, which is equal to 3/2 times the square root of 49 minus 9 over 4, which is equal to 3/2 times 196 over 4 minus 9 over 4. The 196 over 4 comes from converting our 49 to a fraction. So we did this by multiplying by 4 over 4 so that we have fractions with common denominators and are able to subtract them. So this is equal to 3/2 times the square root of 187 over 4, which, when you simplify this out, is approximately equal to 10.26 square meters. The area of our triangle is approximately 10.26 square meters. Try finding the area of this triangle. To find the area of our triangle, we are going to first write out our formula, and then we'll plug in our values and solve it. A equals 1/2 B times the square root of A squared minus B squared over 4, which is equal to 1/2 times 7 times the square root of 12 squared minus 7 squared over 4. The area of our triangle is approximately 40.17 centimeters squared. The last formula we're going to look at is the formula for an equilateral triangle. This formula is A equals root 3 over 4 times A squared. where A is the length of one of the sides. Let's look at a couple of examples. What is the area of an equilateral triangle with a side length of 2 feet? First, we're going to write out our formula. A equals root 3 over 4 times A squared. Now we're going to plug in our value for A. A equals root 3 over 4 times 2 squared, which is equal to root 3 over 4 times 4, which is equal to the square root of 3. So the area of our triangle is the square root of 3 feet squared. Let's try one more example involving an equilateral triangle. What is this triangle's area? We find the area by writing out our formula and then substituting in our A value. So for this problem, area is equal to the square root of 3 over 4 times 9 squared, which is equal to the square root of 3 over 4 times 81, which is 81 root 3 over 4, which, when you simplify it, is approximately 35.07 square inches. We covered a lot of formulas in this video, but I hope they were helpful. Each of these formulas is useful, but the two most common ones are the first two we covered. If you don't already have those two memorized, I would recommend doing that because they will come up frequently in your math classes. Before we go, let's look at a review question. If you are given the triangle shown below, which area formula should you use? The correct answer is B. We are given all 3 side lengths, so this is the most direct formula to plug our values into. I hope this video is helpful. Thanks for watching and happy studying.